I'm Sarah Harvey. I'm Curatorial and Learning Officer at Chelmsford Museum. We've invited Sian Fan to work with us to create a digital artwork celebrating the first radio broadcasts which happened in the Writtle Hut 100 years ago. These broadcasts were really important. They led directly to the birth of the BBC, so that's the centenary that we're celebrating. So I'm working with Sian as the curator on the project, mostly because I'm in charge of the industrial collections at Chelmsford Museum. And that includes all of our Marconi collections and the Writtle Hut, where those first radio broadcasts took place. We've commissioned Sian Fan as an artist to explore this history and this story, because apart from the hut itself, actually there's very little that remains of the story and the history of broadcasting. We just have tantalising snippets from the records that show us what happened. There weren't any actual recordings of the first early broadcasts themselves, because the technology just didn't exist yet. What Sian can bring as an artist is the creativity to fill some of those gaps, whereas curators, we just don't have that information. Sian was really excited from the beginning of the project to start involving the local community and the local creative community to help fill some of those gaps by recreating some of the broadcast content that we don't have access to now, that got lost into the ether.
My name's Sian Fan, and I'm an artist working with new technologies, and I'm producing Forecast22. I'm an interdisciplinary artist, so I work with combining different mediums, in particular movement, performance, and technology. A lot of my work draws on my performance background, which is movement-based, so that's inspired a lot of my work on this project here, where I'm working with different performers from the community to infuse them into the digital artwork. So as part of the work, I've done a LiDAR scan of the hut itself, and it basically fires a laser out to measure a distance from the camera to the point in space, and then it forms that into a point cloud model. What I really liked about the quality of that is it had this kind of grainy quality, but it also echoed pointillism, so it was really painterly as well as digital at the same time, and I felt that that kind of static grain really reflected a lot of the quality of the early broadcasts, and this idea of kind of interference or distortion as a kind of creative space or medium. The participants that we've had involved in the project come from a really diverse set of backgrounds. We've got those that are really established in their careers, but then we've also had groups from the ARU Music Society and from Chelmsford Drama Centre who are much more emerging in their careers.
My name is Lewis and I'm 16 years old.
Hi, my name is Bea and I'm also 16 years old.
My name is Imogen and I am 14 years old. We're from the Chelmsford Drama Centre and the Old Court Theatre. Before this I didn't know much about radio at all, and I had almost never used a microphone other than on stage, so it was really cool to have like all the professional equipment and be able to use that.
Hello, my name's Ryan. I am the president of the Anglia-Ruskin University Music Society.
My name's James. I'm the president of Performing Arts Society. It's the first public thing I've ever done on the piano or keyboard.
Sarah of the Chelmsford Museum contacted us in March, giving us this project. And at that time, our music society was relatively new. We were just a group of friends just playing together, having fun. And when she gave us this opportunity, we thought, why not give it a go?
It's been really rewarding to give this to them as an opportunity to get to record something for the first time. And it was really great getting to work with Ben as our audio technician, who could guide them through that process, make them feel comfortable with it.
Hi, I'm Ben. I'm the audio and tech engineer. I've been here recording all the artists that have come through. So one of the biggest challenges is probably acoustics. The hut doesn't currently have doors, so you're not only fighting the conditions inside the hut, you're also fighting conditions here in the Sanford Mill Museum itself, but nothing we can't go over.
My name is Donna Leonard. I live in Chelmsford, and I am an operatic soprano and physical performer. For this project, I have rearranged Kashmiri Song by Amy Woodford Findon. Sian's artwork is fantastic because it's multidisciplinary and involves lots of different elements. Her idea to digitalise and almost immortalise this hut, something that will eventually degrade, is just wonderful. It feels like there's a bigger sense of connection to the actual place itself, but to Chelmsford as a city, and to the people as well, because of the other artists that are involved in this project.
So my name is Shefali Frost, and I am a musician and a poet and a sound artist. I live in Chelmsford. When we spoke about the project, there were layers of history and layers of politics and layers of music and poetry and seriousness and the comedic nature of the first few broadcasts, and I wanted to layer them all together. So I started with just two very basic ideas of putting poetry and song together. And then slowly, as I started working through it, all the layers started emerging. And I started creating more and more complex aspects of my work. So from where I got the brief to where I sort of formulated it was just a really wonderful journey of process, you know.
Hi, my name's Andy Paul. I'm an actor, comedian, presenter, singer. When I was first approached about Forecast22, I think the thing that really struck me about it initially was that it was to do with my local area, my passions for local history, and also communications. So for Forecast22, I'm going to be reading some excerpts in the voice of Peter Eckersley, Captain Peter Pendleton Eckersley, who was the first radio DJ. And then I'm going to be doing some bits and pieces around that, sort of a faux radio experience from the now, crossing into the past, communicating with the man that we're talking about. And that's really what I'm trying to do, is sort of bridge that gap between 1922 and 2022.
Hey, this is Mark, aka Model Man. I'm from Chelmsford, Essex, and I am an electronic musician and producer. I really like the idea of just being involved in the community and supporting things that are happening near you. I've made a piece of music which you would maybe call an ambient piece. I wasn't sure what I was going to do at first, and it took a little bit of thought, but when I realised that I wanted to do something based on the sound of a radio and the feeling of going into something new, it just fell into place really quickly, and it was basically me at a piano improvising for a little while until the right thing started to form, and then just recording the whole thing, and then I started to layer it with some different texture, and then it kind of come into place pretty quick.
It's quite incredible to think how small and secluded this location is, to think that the radio came from here, and it's something that's so influential, it's had power across the whole world, and to be in its birthplace is really quite extraordinary.
I really wanted this project to be an opportunity to bring to light the amazing things that are happening in Chelmsford now, but also to use it as a kind of possibility for a platform for Chelmsford creatives. And within that, I really wanted to bring the community here to the hut itself in a bit of an attempt to capture some of that original magic, get that texture or quality of the early broadcasts, and just see what exciting or unexpected moments might come up out of that.